And welcome back here at Greater Jackson Business Beat. I'm your host, Jack Chris. We're on the campus of Tougaloo College, and I am pleased to be sitting next to an old friend and a gentleman who actually was featured in the first issue of Greater Jackson Business Magazine. It's Steve Smith. And Steve is an entrepreneur. He's got a lot of titles behind his name. We're going to talk about all those, but primarily Steve is also an entrepreneur. And Steve, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. It's good to be with you.
It's good to have an old friend and a good friend on the program. You not only are an academic person, I mean, you work here at Tougaloo. Your official title at Tougaloo is?
I'm the Assistant VP for Enrollment Management.
And you're also working on getting a
PhD in Education Administration.
Which is keeping you busy enough.
Absolutely.
But on top of that, you have got a side business, which we wrote about in Greater Jackson Business, which is called
iCandy Custom Clothers. It's an affordable custom clothing company.
So people come to you and get fitted, and you give them clothes.
Right.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
What's so special about that? I mean, what's better? Why would I come to you, or why would a businessman or any man, I guess, come to you instead of going to a store and buying a suit off the rack? No muss, no fuss.
Well, of course, buying a suit off the rack is a very easy thing to do. But to get a custom suit is also very easy. But it really lends to the person, because the person is wearing a suit that was developed and created specifically for them, for their body type.
And everybody's got a different body.
And everybody has a different body type. And when you go into the clothing store, those suits are mass produced, and they're mass produced for a massive amount of people. And so although you have different body types, you're still going to have that suit cut to fit you, if you want it to fit correctly.
Now, it used to be, or maybe I'm wrong, but in the old days, most suits, I guess, were custom made, were they not?
Well, yeah, in the early days, they had to be.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have mass production of clothing. But it was a lost art. It was only really for those who could really afford it. But iCandy presents an opportunity for the everyday man.
Well, see, that's
for custom clothing.
Excuse me, Steve, that's the next question. I think most people think, when they think of custom clothing, they think, I can't afford that. That it's cheaper for me to go and spend $300 on a suit off the rack than to go into somebody's office. I'm going to spend thousands of dollars. Not true.
Not true. Not in the case of iCandy Custom Clothers. Our suit starts at $350. Super 130 3-ply blend, cashmere, silk, and wool. And we can go as high as up to $1,000 with a Super 160 wool.
Why in the world? I mean, and we didn't even mention the fact you're a family man. You've got how many children?
I have 7 children.
And how many of those are in college?
3.
So naturally, Dad and Mom are paying for that.
Absolutely.
You're doing that. You're working a full-time job at Tougaloo College.
That's right.
You're getting a PhD.
Absolutely.
First of all, why in the world would you go and start your own business? And second of all, Steve, when do you have the time to do it?
Well, Jack, the great thing about it's more of a passion for me. I've always loved the art of dressing. I've always wanted to dress extremely well, and I could not afford custom clothing because I've always had children to feed and to clothe and to do all those things. So when I had an opportunity to get in this business, I wanted to be able to market my wares to the masses as opposed to an elite few. And it becomes, when I'm not doing what I'm paid to do in terms of my job, which is what I give 100% to, I like to do this. It's really a relief for me.
Steve, iCandy Clothers is obviously successful. I mean, you had a recent fashion show here on campus, did you not?
Yeah, we did. We were raising funds for the Tougaloo Jackson alumni chapter. Really, we do it to assist students who are trying to get into school doing registration or may fall short when it comes to getting books, because books are very expensive now. And we partnered with them to help raise funds for students.
And it was all your clothing?
All my clothing. It was an all-male review, which is rarely seen. It was just guys who were in college to guys who were seasoned professionals.
And you invited me.
I invited you,
and
my
I
friend.
couldn't make it, which
absolutely
I would have done a great job, I'm sure. But one thing that struck me, and it's obviously important to you, to have a strong business and a good business, and clothing is a passion. But when I wrote the article on you in Greater Jackson Business, you also talked about the fact that clothing really does make the man, because in today's business world, you've got to have every advantage. And you mentioned the fact that it's important for young men out there today to dress for success. That's not just a cliche, that's the truth.
That's the truth, Jack. I mean, you have to look the part. Because what I tell young men all the time is that when people first see you, they don't see your brain. They see you. And if you look the part, that's half the battle. And a lot of times I tell guys, especially young guys, man, it takes no effort to look different than what you see today. You know, the guys, if you take 20 guys, most of them look so much alike, you know, with the baggy jeans or with the hip hop look or something to that effect. But if you just put on a shirt, a nice jacket, and dress it up, you will stand out. And I see guys all the time get the advantage, young guys here on campus, because of the way that they represent themselves.
But you know, these days, it's not just the young guys anymore. We've almost become too casual. I get the impression, I may be wrong, that doesn't sit well with Steve Smith.
Not at all. Even here at Tougaloo with the Office of Enrollment Management, we are commonly known as the best dressed people on campus because we don't have an off day. We're dressed every day, Jack, because we have to greet and meet the public. And my motto is be ye always ready. You know, when the public comes, we're here to promote Tougaloo College and make sure that Tougaloo College is seen in the very best light. So you must be able to dress the part.
How's the business going so far? I mean, you're presenting good clothing, quality clothing, it's affordable, but, you know, and I talk about this on every show. I just mentioned it on our last interview at Fleet Feet Sports. Tough economy, Steve.
It is a tough economy, but business is retail. It's up and it's down. But I tell you what, I'm doing much better than I was this time last year.
Wonder why?
Because word of mouth. Of course, I don't have a budget, a marketing budget, but word of mouth has really worked well for me, and standing behind my product.
And what do you mean by that? So if the customer gets the suit, they're not happy with it, what are you going to do about it?
I'm going to make it right, Jack.
Now, when you say that, obviously you try to make it right the first time when they come
Absolutely.
to you, and you will come to them. We need to
Right.
point that out. They don't have to come into your office.
Absolutely.
You will go out to their office or home and fit them.
Wherever.
How long does that take? 5 minutes?
Fitting takes 5 to 10 minutes. It just depends on the look that the client is looking for. You know, button placement in terms of, you know, where he wants it on his upper torso. You know, it just depends on the person. But in terms of just fitting, 5 minutes.
And Steve, specifically, you're doing suits, or you're
I do
doing
suits and shirts.
dress shirts as well?
Dress shirts.
Tell me about the dress shirts.
The dress shirts are immaculate as well. I think that my dress shirts are priced at a price point to where I don't know if there's anyone in the city that can compete with what we do our shirts for. The shirts are Egyptian cotton, 100% cotton, linen shirts, whatever the customer is looking for.
This is one of those questions that I hope you'll answer, because I get paid the big bucks to ask the tough questions. What's a Jackson State grad doing working at Tougaloo College? How did you manage to pull that off?
Well, Jack, you know, you and I worked in radio.
And a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was looking for another opportunity. And I was fortunate enough to get a job in 2 places. One was the bank. I don't know if you remember that. I was making a decision between the bank and Tougaloo. And I really I thought that I'd do better in higher education. And Tougaloo gave me the opportunity. And actually, I love Jackson State, but I adore Tougaloo.
And the college really has supported your business. I mean, not financially,
Right,
naturally, but they know that you're doing your business
Absolutely.
here, and obviously you're working with them like the fashion show
Absolutely.
you had. That's
Absolutely.
interesting.
Each one teach one, each one reach one. And that's what it's all about. I make sure that my job is done, that the business doesn't take away from my job, but I make sure that the business enhances my job.
Now, the other tough question, and I know the answer to this, but some of the viewers may not. iCandy, and it's the letter I, candy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What's the story behind that name?
Well, the letter the letter is basically a marketing tool, but iCandy is specifically in the South. You know, when women would see a nice looking man, you know, if they didn't say he was handsome, they would say that's a nice piece of eye candy.
Like us.
Absolutely, like you and I, Jack. So I was thinking, I was like, you know what? That's it. I like that name. It's catchy. I think I'll go with it. And so that's what we went with. And 2 years later, iCandy is becoming a household name.
You've had segments on the local news done on you as a father, you and Crystal as
That's
parents,
right. That's
because
right.
of your parenting. You've done it all, and we're proud of you, Steve.
Jack,
And
thank you, man.
You know, best of luck with iCandy, with Tougaloo College, and with the PhD, and we'll be checking in with you soon again,
Thank
I'm
you,
sure.
Frank. Thank you so much.
Steve Smith, ladies and gentlemen, here on Greater Jackson Business Beat.